Yeah.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to all our viewers out there. I'm Fiza Sabjahan. I would like to wish all of our viewers out there selamat tengah hari. Terima kasih kerana bersama dengan kami di Minggu Saham Digital. I'm your host today, Fiza Sabjahan, and welcome to our very first episode of Cikgu CEO. I'm super excited and I hope you're excited too. Well, during this show, we'll be exploring complicated entrepreneurial financial concept with our teachers who will share their journey or to simply improve our financial literacy. Dan ada macam-macam kita nak kongsikan bersama dengan cikgu-cikgu CEO kita sepanjang 3 episod ini. And mungkin ramai yang tertanya-tanya kan, who will be our teachers? Well, who better to help us navigate in the world of finance other than the CEOs of some of the largest companies in Malaysia, who have worked hard over the years and earned real world experience that have shaped them to be on the very top of their game. Agak-agaknya siapa ya yang akan bersama dengan kita untuk episod pertama ini? Well, in this first episode, we will learn the basic of finance. Kalau cakap tentang orang kata asas kewangan tu, itulah yang sangat-sangat penting kita ketahui sebab daripada asas ni lah kita boleh belajar untuk menyimpan duit. We'll start with the history of money, then to the emergence of banks and how they have evolved in this modern age, and lastly, to understand why it is important to save, especially at young age. Siapa simpan duit kat sini angkat tangan? Bukan saja adik-adik, tapi anda yang sedang menonton kami secara langsung di atas talian ini, pastikan juga anda bersama-sama bawa anak-anak anda untuk kita pelajari bagaimana cara untuk kita menyimpan duit di usia yang muda. And all of this will be covered in this episode of Cikgu CEO, brought to you by Maybank, humanizing financial services. And for your information, Maybank was established in 1960 and is the largest financial services group in Malaysia, which has an established presence in the Asian region. Hebat ke tak hebat? Kita tepuk sikit. Okay, and for the past 60 years, the company has grown in parallel with Malaysia's economic development and has put itself as a strong and trusted regional brand that supported Asia's development. And currently, Maybank is in 18 countries, including all 10 Asian countries, with Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia being their home markets. As of 2019, Maybank has taken a step towards digitization and launched May, the first e-wallet with banking facilities in Malaysia. I'm using May and it helped me a lot, especially people like me, boros, tak pandai simpan duit. And with me, it really helped me a lot. Okay, thank you to me. And on top of that, Maybank has taken the lead in becoming the first bank in Southeast Asia to launch Tap to Phone, a payment solution for merchants to accept card payments via a mobile app. Mudah ke tak mudah? Hebat. Okay. And now, I'm so excited, tak sabar sebenarnya nak memperkenalkan tetamu kita pada hari ini. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our esteemed guest and also Cikgu pada hari ini, the Group President and Chief Executive Officer of Maybank Group, Datuk Abdul Farid Alias. Apa khabar, Datuk?
Terima kasih, Fiza. I'm good, thank you. Alhamdulillah. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for making your time here today with us.
Gladly.
Okay, we know that you are so busy, Dato. Despite your busy schedule, perhaps we could begin with how many years have you been with Maybank Group, Dato?
How many years? I actually started my career with Maybank Group. That was in the year 1992.
Okay.
And then 95, I left, and then I rejoined Maybank Group back in 2009. And since then,
okay.
So, yeah.
Since 2009 and now it's 2020. Oh, lama tu. 11 years now?
11 years plus the first 3 years, so 14 years lah.
Wow. Hebat tak adik-adik? Okay. Alright. And Datuk, mungkin Datuk juga boleh kongsikan sebenarnya, because you said you have a very illustrious career prior to joining Maybank, Datuk. Maybe you can elaborate that?
I started with Maybank and I was in an entity called ASEAN Bankers. It's now known as Maybank Investment Bank. And then I left ASEAN Bankers to joined a few institutions, Schroders being one of them. Schroders was a merchant bank originated from London. And then I was after that, I left and joined MIMB, a local merchant bank. And then I left MIMB and joined Jardine Fleming, which is another UK bank, which later on got merged with JP Morgan. I was there for about 8 years. So prior to joining Maybank, I just left JP Morgan. And I was at Khazanah for about, about 4 years, there, about 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think for people out there, especially for those young kids kan, who really interested in similar career path, teringin nak jadi macam Datuk ni. So maybe you can share with us, how do you get where you are today? Susah tak all the journey tu, Datuk?
Well, I never expected to be here, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
My career has always been in banking and investment banking. That was my area of interest from the very beginning when I started my career. Even though masa high school, when I was the same age as Zaid or Luqman, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Clear. But I developed those interests when I was in college. Then from investment bank, I stayed in investment bank throughout until I was in Khazanah, which is basically an investment holding company. It's a sovereign funds. Then later I joined Maybank. Okay. I've always wanted to be a CEO, but never in my mind that I would be a CEO of Maybank, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, adik-adik dengar tak tu? Zaid, Luqman, Aaron? Okay, and well,
maybe Fiza, I can help the case a little bit. So yeah. If you don't mind, I went to college and I studied accounting, right? Initially wanted to be an accountant, but then I figured out maybe not for me. Then I did masters, and I did masters in finance because when I was doing my undergraduate, I stumbled upon a course called corporate finance, and I really like it. So when I did my masters, it was in the area of corporate finance, MBA in corporate finance, and with the intention to be in investment banking. So I had that idea when I was in college, but certainly not in high school.
Okay. Okay, Datuk, if you're ready, maybe we can start with today's topic, okay? We are truly looking forward to you breaking down the fundamentals of today's topic, which is understanding money. Okay, cakap tentang money ataupun duit ni kan, I think we can all agree that it can be very hard to manage our finance sometimes, since there are a lot of things we need to think about. We struggle to find the right allocation to spend and save, especially when there are many things we have to pay. Like our monthly bills, commitment, our basic needs such as food and clothes. And in the middle of it, we tend to forget to save for the future. Kadang-kadang sedikit pun susah, okay?
Yeah.
So, maybe you can share with us. It is important to have a good understanding of finance, especially from a young age, Datuk.
Thanks, Fiza. Rizwan, if you can help me share the screen with the deck. So this deck, there's basically about 10 slides, and I have 13 minutes because I want to keep some time for question that our young friends here might have.
Okay, take your time, Datuk.
And I just want to overview of it about it's a understanding how money in banking was created. What was the purpose of the creation? Then we move on to today. Look at how banks function today. What do we do? We will touch a little bit about the current transformation, evolution of banking right now, especially in the advent of digital technology. And then we touch on a very important topic, which is about us. What do we need to do to protect ourselves against ourselves, really? And finally, a note on looking after ourselves against online criminals. So, Rizwan, slide 1. So this slide is a general history of us, of a human being, how we have evolved over thousands of years. And as you can tell, this is based on Gregorian calendar. Gregorian calendar, as you know, is the calendar that we use today. It was introduced in 1582 by Pope Gregory the 13th. BC, as you can see on the top there, means before Christ, and AD means Anno Domini. So 2020 right now is 2020 AD, actually. So 6000 BC is roughly about 8,000 years before us, before today. The first civilization as we know it, it is an area which is now cover Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Egypt, and southern Turkey. This is basically Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. Human being evolved from production for themselves, they started to produce more than they need, so that they can get something else. And the way they get something else is through a barter system, right? It's a direct exchange of goods and services. This started around 6,000 years ago. And I don't know what the kids do it nowadays. Sometimes you have Pokemon cards. You exchange cards. That's kind of like barter. But then again, barter was not efficient because you cannot exchange half a cow or half a lamb for a sack of barley. So we move on several thousand years ago to create a medium of exchange. These are in what is called as commodity money. So commodity money includes cowrie shells. So sometimes the other day when you go to the beach, you see shells on cowrie shells on the beach. Those used to be a medium of exchange back then, especially in this region in Africa. Salt, and then later on they move on to metal. In about 600 BC, they move on to metal coins, gold, silver, copper. So because metal is durable, it's portable, it's divisible, kita boleh agi-agikan, boleh bawa senang. It's not very heavy. But then again, at some point in our history, some of our people realized that the metal itself is worth more than the currency. So they start melting the metal itself. But at any rate, gold and silver, the metal coins, gold and silver was the common form of money throughout our own history. And then paper was introduced. It was introduced reportedly in the Song Dynasty. It's actually, Song Dynasty was in the 11th century. It was actually created by the Tang Dynasty between the 6th and the 9th century. Because metal, eventually, when you have a lot of it, it's quite heavy, then paper money replaced metal as the medium of currency. Paper money is convenient, obviously. It's not heavy. You can easily transport it anywhere. But as long as we believe it carries the value we think it says on the note, I think that's important. As long as we believe the value that's stated on the notes. Now, let's go to slide 2. So here we talk a little bit about banks, about the history of banks. Banks started almost as long as money existed. The original bankers, this is 4,000, 5,000 BCs ago, they were merchants and traders. What they lend was produce, right? Whatever that they produce. And the banks that we know today, actually, the form of it originated in Italy in the 14th century. So the word names banks itself, the name originated from the word bench. In Italy is banco or banks, because normally the way they operate is they operate from the riverbank and setting up benches in Venice and in Florence. Some tidbits. In the 14th century, usury or riba, as we know it in Islam, was forbidden in the Christian world. It was also forbidden in the Jewish religion. But in the Old Testament, while Jews cannot give loans to one another, Jews can give loans to Gentiles, to non-Jews. So this is how it started. Jews giving loans to Gentiles in Venice and Florence. So long story short, after the basically this business is loan shark really, if you want to compare it to what it is today. Long story short, as this business evolved, they become more systematic, more gentrified. The organization gets bigger. They are able to bring their costs down, and they evolve from what they were into something like what we represent today. Also, what happened at that point in time was Medici, the Medici Bank, one of the most popular bank at that point in time in the 1400s. They actually operate by charging fees instead of interest in some of the activities. This is how they get away from the clergy with respect to usury. At the same time, Medici was the one who funded a lot of the Italian Renaissance, the paintings and the sculptures and that kind of stuff. Another development that is worth noting here, because Roman numeral is not easy, right? Roman numeral for 2020 is MM and XX, right? So when you want to calculate, do a multiplication using Roman numeral, in order for you to operate a bank in a big way, it's just not easy. So what happened, because this is an unintended consequence of what happened back then. I think this is the the influence from Arab through the war. They were introduced to the Arabic numerals, which is the numbers we use today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That originated from Arabic numerals, and that makes multiplication in big numbers easier. That's why banks also has evolved. Slide number 3. This is a basic representation of what a commercial bank does today. So bank, at the top here, you see bank receive deposits from your parents. You multiply this by 13 million people, 13 million depositors. Banks pay them interest, which is basically the cost of funding to the bank across time. On the other side of it, the bank then lend money to you, to your parents, at a slightly higher cost than the cost of deposits for the banks. So, from the start of your age, when you have a student loan, and then after you have a student loan, you graduated, you get a degree. First thing you want to get is that you want to buy a car. When you want to buy a car, you get a car loan, a hire purchase. Then after some time, after you have a hire purchase and you have a girlfriend, maybe you start thinking about getting a house because you want to get married, so you get to a mortgage. Then maybe after some time you decided, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. I want to have my own business. Then you will look into having a business loans. And then we take a look at our life from the beginning all the way to the end. And as you can see here, banking touch everyone from cradle to grave, from beginning to our life to end of life. Without bank, you will not be able to have a student loan. You will not be able to have you will not be able to buy a car. You will not be able to buy a mortgage unless you come from a very, very rich family. So that's the function of banks as it is today. But let's go to slide 4. This is the modern bank, beyond deposits and beyond loans to consumers, right? SME, the small and medium-sized enterprise, middle corporations, big corporates, government agencies, and government. These are all clients of the bank, not just the consumers, not just people like ourselves. They also involve in treasury and trading activities. They include currencies, trading currencies so that they mark to market these currencies, making sure that establish what the market price should be. Bonds and sukuk, which is Islamic Sharia compliant form of bonds. Swaps, derivatives, options. And then the banks also go into Islamic banking. For example, like under Maybank, we have Maybank Islamic Bank, which now is the 5th biggest Islamic bank in the world. It's the biggest Islamic bank in Asia Pacific. We also have investment banking. We operate investment banking in the region, providing advisory on listing, on going to capital markets, and all that. We also have insurance under Etika, and we operate cross-border. So like our MC just now mentioned, Fiza mentioned that we operate in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia. Those are our home key markets where we try to connect our clients, trying to connect our activities so that we learn from we try to learn from best practices wherever we find them. Next one. So here is digital banking. So in the old days, people used to save money in temples. When it started back then, and creation of a bench and giving lending activities. So talking about computer, Charles Babbage was the one who conceptualized the first computer in the early 19th century. And then we have ENIAC, ENIAC. This is electronic numerical integrator and computer. This machine could add and subtract 5,000 times a second. They can do multiplication, they can do square root. It weighs 30 tons, and it was built at the University of Pennsylvania in 1945. Then the processing power has accelerated, the power for memory has accelerated, etc. The power of computing has improved significantly that all of us, now have a supercomputer in our pocket, right? In the form of our phone. That and the evolution of communication technology behave and on have made all this. You can pay bills, you can pop your or any of the things that you have, split ends. There's a that money, something like the phone. For May account, as mentioned here, you age 12 and above can have one. Malaysian and non-Malaysian, new or existing customers. Let's go to next slide. So let's talk about us. So the first question is, what do we know when we get money? Mm-hmm. So if you go back to quickly slide 4, Richmond, we study very hard, go to good school, go to good college, get a degree, get a job. At least that's what has been happening, at least to my generation. And that means independence. And after making our own money, start spending it, wanted to impress friends, and maybe wanted to impress girls, at least in my case. But let's go to slide 6 again. 6. Next one. However, if you're sports fans, right? Sometimes you watch football or basketball. Sports figures, they normally come from college, but not always. Sometimes they come from high school. The biggest stars of them all earn big money by any comparison. And immediately they go on and spend money on cars, jewelries, properties, and many examples we see that after some time they all went bankrupt. Not all, some of them. So how is that so? They earn so much money and they go bankrupt. This is because they did not save. They respond to their own needs, their own desires, rather than their own requirement. So, whether we're sports stars, whether we are a normal human being, we all have a useful shelf life. For sports people, they are useful shelf life as a sports person, maybe until the year 30 years old, or maybe slightly 35. Ours is until we retire. It could be 60, it could be 65 in Singapore, for example. But during the productive life of our stage of our life, we have to start build reserves. We have to start build reserve for emergencies because this thing can happen at any point in time. We have to start build reserves for for some big spend concerning education. Maybe when you have kids, house when you want to get married, car when you have a job. Or for rainy days, things that you can't predict, like pandemic today. Nobody predict that's going to happen. We need to have savings in order for us to tide through the difficult times.
Okay, Datuk, sorry to disturb you. We have less than 5 minutes on the session today.
Okay, just maybe I just go to one slide or two slides. The next slide. I think instant gratification is the world that we live in today. I want it now. I want the like right now. I think our brain has been conditioned by our digital, unfortunately, our digital device that we have, for us to have everything right now. And once we have it, we want to share it with the rest of the world, want to show it. We're kind of hooked. So we kind of hooked to all of this in the sense that sometimes we have to check our phones every second. This behavior is actually very similar to an addiction. So, we have to start teaching ourselves self-control. It's not easy. It takes time, but we have to be disciplined. We have to teach ourselves a delayed gratification. Postponing immediate rewards for long-term gains. Sacrifice for the now for bigger reward in the future. So, I think one thing that I want to share with our friends today is practice better self-control and make sure that we can, do delayed gratification, practice delayed gratification rather than what we have been doing right now. So maybe I stop there because times are limited. But if you want to know more, if you go to the last slide.
Okay.
Last slide. No, not this slide. Before this. We have a Maybank Foundation. Maybank Foundation has a financial literacy program. It's called Cash Flow Kids. We introduced this in the year 2013. We have taught 200,000 kids across ASEAN, in Cambodia and the Philippines. More than 900 schools, 2,000 teachers. If you want to know more about this, you can check it out. Cash Flow Kids, Maybank Foundation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dato. Sacrifice now for bigger reward in the future. Well, actually today I would like to introduce our special young and eager students with our viewers online via Facebook and YouTube. We have Alia Farhana. Hello, Alia. We have Nick Aaron. We have Tan Yi Qian. We have Lukman Hakim. And we have Muhammad Zaid. And Dato, you do have some questions for them, right?
Yeah, I have some question for our friends here. Yeah, so the first question, what was the name of the system used to exchange goods and services? Show of hands.
Okay, right? Okay.
Right.
The barter system. The barter system.
Wow.
Wow.
Correct.
Oh, okay, you got it correct.
Yeah. Well done, Zaid. Me at your age, I wouldn't be able to answer that question. So before banks, where did people used to store their money? Alia? You're mute, Alia.
Alia? Before bank, where people store their money?
In the temples. Yeah, you're correct. Wow. So you were paying attention. Thank you very much. Either you were paying attention or somebody feed you with the answers.
No. We have a very good teacher today. Cikgu dia bang.
Right.
Okay, next question, Datuk.
Okay. How old do you have to be to open a bank account without a guardian? Yes, Lukman.
Hello, Datuk. The answer to your question is 18 years old and above.
Wow. Well done. But Lukman, for you can open a May account, but we need permission from your parents. So the next question is that, well, this is easy lah. Can you perform your banking functions on your phone? Let's try Aaron.
Yes.
Okay. That's an easy question. Okay. Okay, next question, Datuk.
Okay. There are challenges in life. We just went through it just now. What are 3 reasons why savings is important? Zaid.
For emergencies, rainy days, and big purchases.
Wow.
You're right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
everybody. Thank you for paying attention.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Datuk, for such an enlightening session. Adik-adik, thank you so much for the answer. Basically, Datuk, adik-adik also have some question for you, and maybe we can start with Alia first for the first question.
Okay.
You ready, Alia? You can ask Cikgu now.
Hi, Dato. My name is
Hi.
Farhana and I'm 13. This year, I couldn't put my duit raya in the bank because of COVID. Is there a way I can keep it through an app?
Yeah, Farhana, you can. You are 13. You can open a May account. You don't have to come to the branch. You just use your smartphone. Anyone above 12, which means that you can open a May account. We will need to contact your parents to get consent. Then if you want to put money into your account, there are two ways of doing it. One is you go to a Maybank ATM, you can deposit cash to the ATM into your account, or you can ask your parents to transfer money into your account. Your parents can transfer directly, or they can transfer by the scan and pay function. Meaning that you do a scan and pay function, there's a QR code, you just scan it and it's done.
Thank you, Dato.
Alia? Are you clear with that, Alia?
Yes.
Okay. Aaron, you do have a question as well, right? Aaron? Yes, Aaron, you want to ask Cikgu now?
Hello, Dato.
Okay.
My name is
Hi.
Nick Aaron, and I'm 11 years old. My question is, what's the minimum amount that I can keep in a bank?
RM1.
Seriously, Datuk, RM1?
Yeah, RM1 is the minimum amount you need in your account. But we were just talking about savings just now. So even if you have RM1, then I think what we need to do is to build it over time. Yeah, as we talked about savings earlier.
Okay, Aaron. Okay, and each one, you have one question to Dato as well. Are you ready for the question?
Yes.
Okay. You can ask the question now.
Hello, Dato. My name is Tan Yishan. The question is, you manage a very big company with thousands of employees. Have you ever felt that your job as CEO is scary or stressful at times? If I had to be in your shoes for a day, how would I overcome that fear?
Yeah.
Dato.
So, yes, Maybank has about 42,000 people around the world. In Malaysia, we have about 23,000 plus and minus, because there are some changes sometimes. It can be scary because number one, you'll be managing people, and in this case, I look after 43,000 people. But at the same time, I am also looking after the interests of 13 million people who put the deposits to Maybank. And I need to make sure that deposits are safe. Because in the world of banking, what I did not explain just now is that the cost of doing business in bank are a cost of credit. Cost of credit means when people cannot pay back their loans. When people cannot pay back their loans, if the customer is big, it can be a big impact on the bank. And we have to manage it in such a way that whatever number of percentage of bad quality will be able to be absorbed by the reserve that we built through the business itself in managing the bank. And then the other part of it is the shareholders. Maybank is owned by about 11 million holder of PNB funds. So these are 11 million Malaysians who rely on dividends from PNB, who then rely on dividends on Maybank. So these are various stakeholders that myself and my colleagues at Group EXCO in Maybank are responsible for. And we have to make sure that we make the right decision, taking the right risk and whenever we are faced with them. But Iswan, I was like you when I was your age. So, if I were like you when you're your age, or Zaid, or Aaron, or Lokman, or Alia, then you can be like me when you are my age or even younger, right? So, evidence have shown that it can be done. But you have to have good people around you. Like me, I have very good people around me. My colleagues are fantastic people. They're the best bankers in my mind. They're the best bankers in the country, or if not in the region. And I can rely on them.
Okay. Is that answer your question? Ichan? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Dato', we have two more questions, one from Lukman and one from Zaid. And I would like to say thank you to all our viewers here in the Facebook Minggu Saham Digital. It's almost 1,000 people watching us now. And I think there's a lot of your employees here. And they can't wait to learn more. Okay, hi semua orang. Terima kasih kerana bersama dengan kita. And now, Lukman, okay, you have a question for Dato' as well? Please?
Yes. There is one question that catches me. As a CEO, I think that Dato' has to make a lot of big decisions for the company. Do you have some helpful decision-making tips?
Decision on behalf of the company. The first thing that we have to remember is that we have to make the right calls. No, one thing that you realize when you are managing a company, you realize that there are a lot of interests circling around you. But we have to hold very fast and dear to the fact that we have to make the right call for the company. Not for ourselves, not for our siblings, not for our friends, not for whoever, for the organization. So if we get that right, then you will be taken care of, your employees will be taken care of, your customers will be taken care of, your shareholders will be taken care of. These are the most important things. Do the right thing for the organization. And I also, I have very good people around me. Very, very good. I have the expert on technology, the expert on people, the expert on risk, on finance is all around me. So, if I will normally ask them what do they think. Once we are comfortable with the decision, then we move along. We move based on that decision.
Okay. Thank you, Dato'. And one last question from Zaid. Are you ready now, Zaid? Okay, you may ask the question now.
Hi, my name is Zaid and I am 11 years old. My question is, I would like to own a BMW car one day.
Wow.
But I don't know how car loans work. Can you explain it to us?
Car loan is like any loan. It's basically which BMW do you like? 3 Series, 5 Series, 1 or X5, X6, 7 Series, 5 Series.
5 Series.
How much is a 5 Series cost now? 5 to 5 Series.
I don't know.
So assuming that is 300,000 ringgit, right? Assuming that is 300,000 ringgit, unless you have a very rich parents, we can assume that you will not have 300,000 ringgit to buy the BMW. And this is where I said earlier that the function of a bank is to help you purchase this car for you. Typically, what the bank will do is that the bank will lend you the money, but you will have to come up with some yours as well. Because for us is that one principle is that you have to feel the pain in acquiring something. If you lose that pain, then that will be unlikely for us to lose the loans, something like that. So assuming that the margin of financing is 80%, right? Or 90% now, let's say. So that means you have to come out with 10%, 300,000, and the bank will loan you 270,000 ringgit. So the 270,000 ringgit will then be repaid over a period of time. It can be 3 years, it can be 5 years, it can be 7 years. Then the way HP financing is done is that it multiply by the number of years, multiply by the number of annual rate, and divide it by the period. But if you do the calculation, the longer the period is, the higher your payback would be. The higher the amount of money you have to pay back, the longer will be the lower. But that's basically how it works, lah.
Thank you so much, Datuk, for the answers. I hope you'll get your BMW 5 Series one day, okay, soon.
You will, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, thank you so much, Datuk and adik-adik, for all the intelligent and smart questions today. And unfortunately, Datuk, we have come to the end of our show today. Maybe you have
Thank you, Fiza.
some last word to all our viewers today.
I think we are at a situation where there's a lot of changes that's happening. I've seen some changes happening during my career, but because of the evolution of technology and the focus on, let's say, environment and sustainability, I think the next generation of change is going to be even more exciting. It's going to be not just exciting, but it's going to be beneficial to human beings, beneficial to people. We need to protect our environment. We need to protect the people who are at the margins of society. We have to help people to grow, to progress. So all this statement of intent, it will be your generation to help us to solve them. And we have the tools to solve them. I'm very excited for you, and you have a fantastic future and opportunity in front of you.
Thank you so much, Dato'. I hope all of us today managed to learn the importance of managing our finance for a brighter future and taking the early as possible step to achieve a financial freedom, inshallah. And once again, thank you, Datuk Abdul Farid Alias, Group President and Chief Executive Officer of Maybank Group, for the first episode of Cikgu CEO, which brought to you by Maybank, humanizing financial services. Thank you again, adik-adik. Thank you for the session.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. And if you missed part of the show or you would like to share it with anyone else who could benefit from it, you can share our Facebook Minggu Saham Digital. Terima kasih juga sekali lagi kita nak ucapkan kepada anda semua yang bersama-sama dengan kami dari awal segmen Cikgu CEO ini, dan jangan lupa untuk sharekan segmen ini bersama dengan rakan-rakan anda yang mungkin ketinggalan ataupun boleh mendapat manfaat daripada apa yang dikongsikan oleh cikgu kita yang sangat-sangat hebat hari ini. Jadi sampai di sini saja. Thank you everyone and catch you in the next episode of Cikgu CEO. Assalamualaikum. Bye.
Waalaikumsalam.